Welcome to Inventory Planner 101, a high-level overview designed to quickly get you familiar with our most common forecast settings. In this video, I'll introduce you to demand forecasting within Inventory Planner. Then I'll provide you a foundational understanding of how we integrate with other applications. I'll show you how to assign and customize forecasting methods and how to manage their related settings. Then I'll demonstrate how you can account for specific vendor conditions, maybe their limitations or specifications. Then I'll illustrate a simple purchase order workflow using the replenishment recommendations as our starting point. Before we jump in, let's answer the question, what is demand planning? This is when you leverage the past sales behaviors of your customers to predict future sales patterns. It's also knowing what inventory you need and specifically when and where you need it. It takes away the speculation, allowing you to confidently scale your business since it's all driven by data. It allows you to save hours of time staying out of messy spreadsheets. Now you can stop wandering around your warehouse trying to guess what needs to be replenished. Are you curious which platforms Inventory Planner integrates to? Check out this page for more details on all of our available integrations. What about data? What data syncs to Inventory Planner from each of your integrations? Check out this interactive page for clarity on what data maps to Inventory Planner from each integration. When integrating your platforms, we're collecting tons of data, whether it's vendors, products, current stock information, stock history, sales history, etc. However, not all integrations capture the same combinations of data. Additionally, Inventory Planner will start tracking your stock history from the date that your Inventory Planner account was created. You can supplement various data elements, including your sales history and your stock level history, via the available import tools within Inventory Planner. Now you know Inventory Planner connects to various platforms. Just to be clear, if you use an inventory management system with a sales platform that could be integrated directly with Inventory Planner, like Shopify or Amazon, it is advised to only connect your inventory management system to Inventory Planner. You should not connect Inventory Planner to both an IMS and the sales platforms that are connected to your IMS. Doing so will result in duplicated data within Inventory Planner. Let's navigate to Account and Settings and the Connections and Warehouses tab. This page displays all of your connections, each with their own enabled warehouses. Warehouses are automatically created based on locations set up within your connected platforms. Every enabled warehouse presents us with the data needed for sales history, reporting, forecasting, and replenishment recommendations. If you don't want to report on or replenish a specific warehouse, you can simply disable it from this page. Now let's navigate to Account and Settings, the Connections and Warehouses tab, and then let's select the New Connection button. After selecting to connect a platform, enter the relevant information in the fields provided. These fields will vary by the selected platform. An initial data sync will take place after all of your platforms are set up. This initial sync could take up to a couple hours. Next, let's navigate to Account and Settings, the Connections and Warehouses tab, and then let's select the New Combined Warehouse button. This is a warehouse that aggregates stock and/or sales from multiple locations. This is recognized as a replenishment warehouse, and it is not a true warehouse location. So maybe you're asking, why would I use a combined warehouse? When merchants with multiple locations or sales channels want to see the total demand for products before ordering from a single vendor, the combined warehouse is a perfect solution. Now let's navigate to Account and Settings, the Connections and Warehouse tab again, but this time let's select the New IP Warehouse button. An IP warehouse represents your locations that store inventory but are not fulfilling orders directly. In other words, it's a warehouse that is unrelated to any of your integrated platforms, but is still considered by your buyers when analyzing your inventory levels. IP warehouses do require a manual entry of your starting inventory levels, And this can be done either by filtering the replenishment report and manually editing the stock column, or by performing a variant settings import. Here are some tips for navigating Inventory Planner. I'll be using the replenishment report for my example. There are many search and filter options available within Inventory Planner. Additionally, the warehouse list will include all enabled warehouses, IP warehouses, and combined warehouses. The collections list will help refine your results as well. On the top right-hand side, you'll notice a gear icon. The gear icon provides access to over 180 available columns to help you customize your screen view. The details icon, shown with an eye, provides visibility to forecast and replenishment details at any level. Selecting one or more of the variant checkboxes will enable bulk actions, which unlocks an assortment of options. Understanding forecasting methods and their settings when assigned at the account level. Assigning the correct account level default forecasting method is critical. Let's navigate to Account and Settings, and on the Forecast tab, you'll notice the default forecasting method list. There are 3 selections to choose from. However, only one assignment can be made as the default. There are override options available at the variant level, and I'll show you that here shortly. Let's start with recent sales and trends. This is a non-seasonal forecasting method. This method looks at sales and stockouts during the assigned period and identifies if a sales trend exists. This option specializes in identifying non-calendar based reasons for spikes in demand. For example, a baking supplies company that sells cake pans has steady sales all year long. This forecasting method will help identify a spike in sales over a consecutive period of months that are not tied to any specific reason. This method provides the benefit of using 2 factors when generating the forecast. It's looking at the rate of sales, or the velocity, and the direction of sales, plus or minus, which is the trend. When using this method, it's very important to understand how your sales velocity is calculated. Now let's look at last sales. This forecasting method is best for non-seasonal or trendy products. It's based on the average sales for the last number of days assigned. This method is used in situations where your customer demand changes often and is unpredictable. You would use this method to be super responsive to your customers' demands. But just a warning, the lower you assign the days, the much more volatile response within Inventory Planner. Additionally, if the Use Stockouts History setting is enabled, the last days are going to represent when the product actually had stock. The seasonal method considers the same months in prior years as the sales reference period. It's beneficial for holiday and seasonally driven items with greater than 12 months of sales history. For seasonal forecasts, sales velocity is not considered, and the trend is applied by comparing sales over the last 12 months versus the 12 months before that. This is not necessarily just holiday or event-specific activity, and there is an available limiter. I like to refer to it as like a ceiling and a floor threshold assignment, essentially a security blanket. Properly using the Use Stockouts History setting. When it comes to stockouts, do you want out-of-stock days to affect your forecast? Ask yourself this question: do I want to continue accepting orders when I'm out of inventory? If the answer is no, then you would leave the default setting enabled. If the answer is yes, then you would disable the Use Stockouts History setting. While this is the account level setting, there are override options available at the variant level. Understanding forecasting methods and their settings when they're assigned by variant, which overrides the account level setting. There are 3 common places where you can override your forecast settings. The first option is within the replenishment report. Select the details icon, go to forecast settings, enable the Use Custom Forecast Settings option, make your change, and select Save. The second method is to navigate to the replenishment report again. You can filter and select your variants, which then enables the bulk actions option at the bottom of the page. Select Set Forecast Settings, enable the Use Custom Forecast Settings option, make your changes, and then select Apply. My preferred method is to navigate to the Catalog menu, select Forecast Settings, and then you can filter and select your variants. Whether it's a one-to-one change here or applied in bulk, I like the preferred method because you can see what's currently assigned before you make any necessary changes. Here's how to forecast demand for a variant that has no sales history available by leveraging the Combined Sales History options. You'll navigate to Replenishment, and then you'll filter for your new variant. Select the Details icon, then select the Forecast Settings tab. Then towards the bottom of that page, you'll select the plus Add Variants. You'll filter for your old variant. You'll check the box next to that variant and select Apply. Perhaps you only want to apply a percentage of the old item's sales performance to help tighten up the results, for example. Or maybe you want to merge the stock. This checkbox should only be selected if you want the stock of the old variant added to the new variant for forecasting purposes. This will not push stock quantity changes to your connected platforms. This all stays in Inventory Planner. Then we have the Stop Combine After field, allowing you to apply an expiration date to this combination. Whether it's a temporary or a long-term use, select the date and then select Save. Assigning lead time and days of stock. Accurate lead time and days of stock assignments are required for Inventory Planner to deliver precise recommendations. Lead time represents the days between placing a purchase order with your vendor and when you receive the products into stock. Days of stock is the period for which you would like to have enough stock. So in other words, it's the stock cover. Days of stock may also represent your purchasing frequency. The accuracy of these settings within Inventory Planner is critical, as neither of these values are synced from any integrated platform. Your vendors should provide accurate lead times. However, over time, you can validate each vendor's average by visiting Reports and Good Received Note. Then, looking at the average lead time column. Account level defaults for lead times and days of stock are managed by selecting Account and Settings and Forecast. Overrides can be applied by variant within the replenishment report or by vendor by selecting Catalog and Vendors and Settings, or by variant and warehouse by selecting Catalog and Warehouses. All of these assignments can be managed in various ways, manually with a one-to-one update, or in bulk, or via an import. Please note, lead time and days of stock are always a warehouse setting that can be influenced by variant and vendor level overrides. Learn more about how to choose your lead times and days of stock by visiting our Help Center. Managing variant and vendor attributes. To view your list of vendors within Inventory Planner, select Catalog and Vendors. From here, you can update several important vendor settings directly, including email address, currency, default tax rate, discount percent, and MOQ type. You may have to use the gear icon to add or adjust your columns. Add vendors by selecting the plus new vendor button. Manage each vendor's default assignments by selecting the settings hyperlink beneath each vendor. Edit a vendor-specific variant attribute by selecting the number of variants hyperlink located beneath each vendor. This is where you can assign a vendor product name or a vendor MOQ or a unit of measure. Please note, if Inventory Planner syncs your vendors from another platform, you should create and manage your vendors on that platform. Then, new vendors and updates will be synced to Inventory Planner. You can learn more about variant and vendor attributes by visiting our Help Center. Managing purchase order settings, including the option to customize your PDF templates. To view all the available account level settings for purchase orders, go to Account and Settings, then Purchase Orders. This is where you can customize the default layout of your purchase order template. Select the Manage Template button beneath the PDF title to proceed. You can override the default PO format by vendor. Go to Catalog and Vendors and then select the vendor settings hyperlink, then select the Manage Template button within the purchase order section. At the account level, you can customize the assigned shop name, and you can choose a logo to appear on the template. At both the account level and the vendor level, after enabling the Use Custom Settings option, you can customize whether the template should be in portrait or landscape mode. You can also control the various formatting options within the table that contain the line items. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can select the plus Add Field button to select additional columns to display on your purchase order template. To learn more about how to customize purchase order PDFs, please visit the Help Center. Let's walk through the entire purchase order life cycle, starting with creating a purchase order. There are multiple ways to create purchase orders within Inventory Planner. This includes directly from the Stock Orders screen or directly from the Replenishment screen. The Replenishment screen is how we're going to proceed. So once you've reviewed your replenishment suggestions, you can select the checkboxes next to the variants you want to include on your purchase order, then select the plus New Purchase Order for X Variants button at the bottom of the page. If the selected items are sourced from different vendors, you can easily create multiple POs in one bulk action at this point. Please note, when creating a purchase order from Replenishment, Inventory Planner automatically chooses the vendor who supplies the selected products at the lowest cost price. Next, click on Settings in the top right-hand corner of the new purchase order to change or view various fields, including internal notes, PO status, expected date, and multiple layers of vendor-specific information. Next, we'll verify the assigned vendor and the destination warehouse and the expected date. The expected date will be the result of the lead times of the products that were included on your purchase order. The Actions button lets you leverage various scaling options within your PO. Variants and ordered columns inherit the values from the replenishment screen. I like to show off the MOQ and the UOM columns here because once you make changes to either of these fields specifically, there's a checkbox at the bottom of your screen that allows you to update those vendor attributes and then select Create to save your purchase order. Now let's email the PO to your vendor. You can do so by selecting the email button on the actual purchase order itself. Confirm the from and the to address, the subject line, and then confirm the attachment type, the template used, and the message body. Then select Send Email. And you'll notice that the status icon updates to represent a sent email and also that it's sent successfully. You can also easily edit a purchase order. You will do this by selecting the Edit button within the purchase order itself. You can make any updates you need and then select Save. Of course, if you've already sent your purchase order to your vendor, you would need to send it again at this point. For Inventory Planner users that are not connected to an IMS, you can receive your inventory from your purchase order directly within Inventory Planner. You'll start by selecting Stock Orders. Then you'll find and select the purchase order number hyperlink within the reference column and select it to proceed. There's various ways to record the received quantity of inventory. You can use the arrow button on the line item level. You can manually type the quantity in the To Receive column. You can select the button that says Receive Remaining to do a bulk receipt on all of the remaining items to be received on the entire purchase order. Or within the Receive button, there is an Import Received Quantity, or you can use a barcode scanner and scan the quantity to be received. Please note, the Received History column will stack dates for partial receipts by variant. Pushing received quantities to your integrated Shopify connection, if it's applicable, will allow you to increase or decrease stock directly within your Shopify store after the purchase order has been received. For additional clarification, the workflow when you're integrated to an IMS would be that the purchase order can be created within Inventory Planner. Then, all changes to the PO must take place outside of Inventory Planner, including the receiving stock activity. Updates to the purchase order in the IMS will then be visible in Inventory Planner after the next nightly sync. Well, that just about covers all the foundational elements you need to get started with Inventory Planner. Because we have a few minutes left, I'd like to address 4 common questions that we get. The first question is, what's a good way to ignore an outlier that is affecting my forecasting numbers? You can try to adjust the forecasting period date ranges so that you can attempt to ignore the anomaly. This has worked well in the past for other users. The second question is, can forecasting accommodate selling on 2 or more different platforms? The answer is yes. Forecast settings can be adjusted independently. The same is true with your combined warehouse details. Question number 3. What settings would I adjust for make-to-order items? We talked about this a little bit earlier when it comes to lead time and days of stock. In this case, for make-to-order items, you would set your lead time and your days of stock both to 0. This would allow the replenishment to come back with a value of 1, which will trigger the action that you need for your make-to-order items. The fourth question is, can forecasting methods be merged? The answer is no. However, we do support the assignment at the account level and allow an assignment at the variant level as an override. To learn more about anything you've seen today, please visit the Inventory Planner Help Center. That's all for now. We'll see you next time.